Hey guys, today we're going to be installing a Prinsu Pro Roof Rack on our brand new Sequoia. Stay tuned to see how that goes. Also make sure and check out our PDF install guide. We're constantly making improvements to that to make sure it has the most up-to-date information. Let's do this. Okay, the first thing you want to do before getting started is lay everything out and just make sure everything is here. So this Sequoia already had an original roof rack mounted to it. So some of the steps have already been done, but I'll walk you through it anyway. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find these plastic covers on here, and using a screwdriver or prying tool, you can pop these guys off to expose your mounting locations. So once you have all these covers off, you're going to want to go to your mounting hardware and mounting feet. So these kits include a machined mounting block that your mounting feet are going to rest on. They have a passenger designation on one side and a driver designation on the other. So you're going to want to make sure you have the right letter upright on the right side of the vehicle that you're working on. These are just going to drop in place. You'll put the threaded hole over the stud that's sticking up in here. Okay, so all of the mounting feet are going to be marked passenger and driver, and then there's a front, middle, and rear. And so everything's going to be laser cut into it. So right now we're in the passenger middle location, so you're going to line your mounting foot up. The shorter bolt is going to go in the threaded hole in the block, and then the longer bolt is going to drop through and actually mount into the vehicle. So we're not going to completely snug this up, but we just want to get a good start. You're going to use a 13mm socket for the shorter bolt, and then you're going to want to grab a 10mm for the shorter bolt, or sorry, for the longer bolt. One last thing, before you drop these in, just make sure you put a drop or two of Vibratite on there that's included in the kit, just to make sure these things don't vibrate loose when you're on the trails. Now that we have that done, you're just going to want to do the same thing for these back four mounting locations. To reuse these original covers, they're going to need to be notched out to go over the mounting foot and to leave room for the bolt heads. So using a cutting wheel, you can cut these out and make room for those, and we'll drop a clip of that happening here.
And then the next step is we're going to have these covers that we previously removed. They're going to go basically over top of this bracket. We're just going to notch out where the plate sits. So I'm just going to hold this in place, mark it with a Sharpie, and then we'll go notch that out and be able to snap this guy on.
Now that we've got the mounting feet mounted loosely and we've got our covers put back in place, we're going to go ahead to the next step, which will be putting on the roof rack. To prepare for that, we're going to lay all of our crossbars out on the roof, and then we can start to bolt up our side rails. So you're going to want to space these out roughly 10 inches apart, and for areas of the roof that don't have these factory roof rails, it might be a smart idea just to lay something down to protect the roof. Okay, so you're going to want to take your inner side rail and line it up with the outer side rail. And then we've got 4 of our 1-inch stainless steel screws ready to go. I've put a drop of Vibratite on each of these, And we're gonna put this up and mount it to the So we've got our roof rack mounting screws hand tightened. Now using a 5/32 bit, we're just gonna tighten these a little more. Like we mentioned before, there was already a Prinsu rack on this vehicle, and this Pro rack actually uses all of the same mounting feet as the original rack. As such, this front mounting foot is already stuck in the position it needs to be. But to do that, and you can reference back to the original installation video for the original rack.
All right, so now we're getting ready to install the front portion of the side rail. We have here our driver's side front mounting feet, and we need to apply the double-sided tape to the underside. So where it is engraved right here, we're just gonna go to that flat spot right there, and we're gonna apply the double-sided tape right there. We're only gonna apply one side of it. We're gonna keep the other side covered until we get it in place and really determine where it's gonna go. Then we'll peel it off and stick it down. For right now, let's go ahead and get this stuck and bolted on. All right, so we got our side rails in place. I went ahead and snugged up these side T30 bolts just to hold it nice and straight. What we're gonna do now is install 3 crossbars, one at the front, one in the middle, and one at the back. And that'll hold everything together so we can square it up, and then we'll tighten our main mounting bolts and then get our sticky foot stuck to the roof. All right, so we got our 3 crossbars in, just kind of aligning everything, pulling it all together. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this mounting foot and go ahead and stick it. And I've already got alignment, so I'll make a mark so I know exactly where the foot is when everything's nice and straight. We'll go ahead and do that right now.
And to prep for putting this front side rail on, we're gonna take our connector piece and just put a screw through the front hole to hold these 2 plates together. That will make it much easier for our next step. Okay, now that we've got this side rail all bolted up to the mounting feet, we're gonna put these crossbars that we previously placed up here into their respective positions and get them tightened down before we move on to the other side. Okay, so now that we have all of our crossbars mounted and tightened, we're gonna jump back and tighten up our mounting feet bolts that we put on in the very beginning. So on our longer through mounting bolt, we're using a 10mm socket. Just get that good and snug. And then our larger bolt head, we're gonna be using a 13mm socket to tighten that guy up. So what you'll do here is line up your wind deflector with this silver extrusion, and you'll take 8 of these stainless steel T-nuts and slide them in and just line them up with the holes the best you can. After that, we can put our wind deflector on the extrusion and line up the holes with our T-nuts, drop in a 1/2 inch screw with a washer and get it all tightened up. Okay, that wraps it up. This thing is ready to go. Make sure you like this video and subscribe for more just like it.